My name is Allison, and I am 30 years old. I work in marketing. I have my parents and an older sister named Chloe. She is 33 and recently got engaged to Justin. This all started about a week before Christmas. I went over to my parents' house for a typical Sunday dinner. Mom had made roast chicken with mashed potatoes and gravy. Dad opened a nice bottle of wine. Chloe was there too. The conversation eventually turned to the big Hawaii trip. They had been planning it for months. "We need to make sure we get reef-safe sunscreen," Chloe said. She mentioned that regular sunscreen is actually banned on some of the beaches there to protect the coral. "That is good thinking," my mom replied. "And we definitely need to book that helicopter tour, the one that flies over the volcanoes and the waterfalls. I saw the photos online," my dad added. "The views look absolutely unreal. We should probably schedule that for the second day. Oh, and we can't forget that luau on the beach," my mom continued. "The one with the traditional fire dancers. It looks very authentic." I just sat there and smiled. I was already imagining myself sitting on the sand watching the sunset. "What about snorkeling?" I asked. "I heard Hanauma Bay is supposed to be an amazing spot." My mother looked at me, and then she laughed. It was a cold, dismissive laugh. "Oh, honey, you aren't coming," she said casually. I stopped mid-bite, my fork halfway to my mouth. "What do you mean?" I asked. "We are taking Justin instead," she explained. "He is going to be part of the family soon. He needs this time to bond with us." My father just nodded along. "Yeah, it makes sense," he said. "Chloe needs her fiancé there with her." Chloe just sat there smiling. It was clear she had known about this the whole time. I slowly put my fork down on the plate. "That is not funny," I said. "It is not a joke," my mother replied. "But I am the one paying for this entire trip," I reminded them. "Oh, you will still be paying for it," my mother said, "but Justin will be going in your place. It is just more important for him to bond with the family before the wedding happens." I looked over at my sister. She just shrugged her shoulders like it was no big deal. "You are completely serious?" I asked. My mother simply replied that she was. I stood up, grabbed my purse, and walked straight out of the house. I got into my car and drove home. The entire way there, I was shaking with pure anger. I had been funding their entire lifestyle for the last 3 years. Ever since I got my current job and started making 6 figures, my parents would plan these vacations, fancy dinners and trips, and somehow it always became my responsibility to pick up the tab. At first, I didn't really mind. I wanted to help them out. But this was different. They were literally replacing me. They were taking my hard-earned money and giving my seat to someone else. By the time I got home, I decided I was done. 2 days later, I was sitting at my desk at work when my phone buzzed. It was a notification from my bank app. It said, "Attempted withdrawal of $7,000 blocked. Please contact us immediately. $7,000. I opened my banking app to see what was going on. There it was, an attempted ATM withdrawal that had been declined because it exceeded the single transaction limit. Then it hit me. 3 years ago, I had given my mother access to one of my secondary accounts. I told her it was for emergencies only, things like medical bills, car repairs, or urgent household needs. I had set 2 specific limits back then, a monthly cap of $1,000 and a single transaction limit of $5,000. My mother had never actually respected that monthly limit. Some months she would spend $1,100. Other months, it was $1,300, and once she even hit $1,500. I had noticed it before when I looked at the transaction history. I saw charges for dinners at expensive steakhouses, new clothes from high-end department stores, a luxury massage package, home decor, and gifts for Chloe. None of it was an emergency, but I hadn't wanted to start a huge fight over a few $100s. But $7,000 was a whole different story. That was the Hawaii trip money. She was trying to steal the money for the trip that I wasn't even invited to attend. Just then, my phone rang. It was the bank. Miss Allison, this is Megan from Lincoln State Bank. I am calling regarding the attempted withdrawal on your account ending in 4782. I told her I had just seen the notification. Yes, she said. The second account holder attempted to withdraw $7,000 from an ATM. The system automatically blocked it because it exceeds your single transaction limit of $5,000. We need your personal authorization to let this through. The second account holder is my mother, I told her. That is correct. Do you authorize this transaction? I took a deep breath. No, I do not authorize it. Understood, she said. I am canceling the transaction right now. I could hear her typing on her keyboard. It has been officially declined. Is there anything else I can do for you? Yes, I said. I need to remove my mother as the second account holder completely. I want her debit card disabled and all of her access revoked immediately. There was a brief pause on the line. Are you certain? She asked. This action is permanent. I am absolutely certain, I told her. All right, I will need to verify your identity first. She asked for my social security number, my mother's maiden name, and my home address. I answered every question. Thank you, Megan said. I am processing the removal now. It will take approximately 1 hour to fully update in the system. After that, you will be the sole owner of this account. Your mother will no longer have any access whatsoever. Perfect, I said. Thank you so much for your help. You are very welcome. Is there anything else I can assist you with today? No, that is all. I really appreciate it. Have a great day, Miss Allison. I hung up the phone and just stared at it. 1 hour. In 1 hour, my mother would be completely cut off from my finances. She would have zero access and no ability to take a single dime. The account would be mine and mine alone. And honestly, it felt amazing. It felt right. I should have done this a long time ago. An hour later, I received the confirmation email. My mother was no longer an account holder, and her card was disabled. I took a screenshot of the blocked $7,000 withdrawal and sent it to my mother in a text. I wrote, "You can pay for your own trip now." Then I put my phone on silent and went back to work. When I checked my phone at lunch, I had 37 missed calls. They were from my mother, my father, and Chloe. There were dozens of text messages too. They said things like, "You are ruining everything. We already booked the flights. The deposits are non-refundable." I ignored all of them. I sent one final message. "This is your problem to solve. I am not paying for a trip that I am not invited to attend." Then I blocked all of their numbers. The next day, my phone started ringing again, but from different numbers. It was aunts, uncles, and cousins. These were relatives I hadn't even spoken to in years. It was the same thing every time. They told me I was ruining Christmas. They said my parents were devastated and that I should just pay for the trip. Every time one of them called, I just hung up. That evening, my cousin sent me a screenshot. My mother had posted a long, dramatic update on Facebook. She wrote that I had promised to pay for their Hawaii vacation and then backed out at the last second. She said their holiday was ruined and suggested that I had lost my mind. She made it sound like I was having some kind of mental breakdown and that I was being incredibly cruel. The comment section was filled with relatives agreeing about how terrible and ungrateful I was. The calls started getting even worse. People I barely even knew were calling to tell me I was a horrible daughter. I started blocking every number that came through. Then someone added me to a giant family group chat. There were dozens of messages flying by. My relatives were talking about me as if I wasn't even there. They said I had always been difficult, selfish, and strange as a child. Some distant aunt wrote about how I used to be quiet at family gatherings when I was only 10 years old. She said it was clearly an early sign that something was wrong with me. They were tearing my character apart. My patience finally ran out. I took screenshots of everything. I screenshotted the bank notification about the $7,000. I screenshotted the texts from my parents demanding the money. I included the messages where they explicitly said Justin was going instead of me, but that I still had to pay the bill. I also had saved several voice messages before I blocked my parents. I had a recording of my mother screaming that I owed them this, that they were doing what was best for Chloe, and that I should just shut up and pay. I posted every single piece of evidence into that group chat. Then I wrote, "This is what actually happened. Read it for yourselves." The chat absolutely exploded. Relatives started turning on my parents and asking them hard questions. "Wait, you were really going to take her money and then not let her go?" one asked. "You tried to withdraw $7,000 without even asking her first?" Another wrote, "That is literally fraud." My parents tried to defend themselves, and so did Chloe, but the evidence was right there for everyone to see. The screenshots, the voice messages, and the bank alerts didn't lie. Some of my relatives started arguing with my parents. Others just went silent. A few of them actually sent me private messages apologizing. I didn't care about the apologies. I left the chat and deleted the app from my phone. The next morning, my boss called me into his office. "Allison, I received a very strange phone call this morning," he said. "It was from your mother." My stomach immediately dropped. "She told me that you are an unreliable employee," he continued. "She said you have been having a breakdown and that you have been showing signs of aggression and instability lately." I felt my face get hot with embarrassment. "That is not true," I told him. "None of it is." "I figured as much," he said, "but I wanted to hear your side of the story." I explained everything to him. I told him about the Hawaii trip, the money, the attempted $7,000 withdrawal, and how they tried to replace me with my sister's fiancé while making me pay for it. He listened quietly and then nodded. "I thought it might be something like that," he said. "You've been a great employee here. What she said sounded completely out of character for you." "Thank you for believing me," I said. He pulled out a business card and handed it to me. "This is my personal lawyer, Robert Henderson. He handles family disputes and harassment cases. If this situation escalates any further, you should give him a call." I took the card. "I really appreciate that," I told him. "Don't let them derail your career, Allison," he warned. That afternoon, I contacted Robert Henderson. I explained the whole situation, the harassment, the constant calls, the public Facebook posts, and finally the call to my boss. He listened intently and then said he could draft a cease and desist letter. It would be a formal legal warning that if they continued this behavior, we would pursue a restraining order. "I want you to send it by both registered mail and email," I told him. "Do it." He drafted the letter that same day. It outlined everything clearly: the harassment, the defamation of character, and the illegal attempt to interfere with my employment. It warned them that any further contact would result in immediate legal action. He sent it off to my mother, my father, and Chloe. I went home and tried to relax, but the tension was still there. Christmas was only 4 days away, and I knew deep down that they wouldn't just give up. I was right. The day before Christmas, I heard someone pounding on my front door. I looked through the peephole and saw my parents and Chloe standing there. They were knocking loudly and repeatedly. My father yelled out, "Allison, open this door right now." I didn't move. I didn't say a word. Then my mother joined in. "You have embarrassed us in front of the whole family," she screamed. "You have exactly 1 day to fix this. Give us the $7,000. My father kept pounding on the wood. "You have 1 day or you will regret it," he shouted. I could hear Chloe crying outside. She was sobbing loudly. "You are ruining my entire life," she wailed. "You are just jealous because I am the one getting married. You have always been jealous of me." I pressed my back against the door, my heart racing. "We are not leaving until you open this door," they yelled, but I never opened it. After about 20 minutes of shouting, they finally gave up and left. I stood there in the silence, breathing hard. Then I went into my bedroom and looked at the suitcase I had packed weeks ago. Tomorrow was Christmas, and I had my own plans that they knew absolutely nothing about. Allison had cut off their money and exposed the truth to the entire family. Her mother had even tried to get her fired. Her parents had shown up at her door, demanding $7,000 and making threats. But Allison had a suitcase ready. What was she planning next? And would her family ever let her go that easily? On Christmas morning, I wasn't at my parents' house. I was sitting on a plane heading to Mexico. I had booked this trip weeks ago as a backup plan. I was going to spend a full week at a luxury beach resort in Cancun, and everything was all-inclusive. I was going alone. Just me. No family, no drama, no expectations. The resort was stunning. It had white sand beaches, crystal blue water, and palm trees swaying in the breeze. My room had a private balcony that overlooked the turquoise ocean. I spent my days lounging by the pool, reading books, drinking margaritas, and working on my tan. I went snorkeling and saw incredible coral reefs with colorful fish everywhere. I even took a boat tour to see the ancient Mayan ruins. The guide told us all about the history, and I took beautiful photos of the temples. I ate fresh seafood every single night and took long walks on the beach at sunset, watching the waves roll in. For the first time in months, I felt completely relaxed and free. On the third day of my trip, I decided to post some photos on social media. I posted the beach, the sunset, my drink, and a selfie with the ocean behind me. I didn't write a single word about my family. I didn't mention Hawaii or the drama. I just posted my vacation photos. I knew they would see them. I knew it would make them furious, but I honestly didn't care anymore. The week flew by, and before I knew it, I was flying back home. When I landed and turned my phone on, I had dozens of notifications waiting for me. There were angry messages from my family members. I didn't even bother to read them. I just deleted the apps and moved on with my day. A few days later, I met up with my friends for our usual Saturday afternoon at our favorite cafe downtown. It has great coffee and a really quiet, cozy atmosphere. That day, there were 4 of us. Me, Rachel, Ashley, and Tyler. We were sitting at our usual table right by the window. Suddenly, the door opened. I looked up and my heart sank. Chloe walked in, and Justin was right behind her. Rachel noticed my face immediately. "You okay?" she asked. "My sister just walked in," I whispered. My friends all turned to look. They knew everything that had been going on. Chloe spotted me instantly. Her face turned bright red with rage. She started storming toward our table. Justin looked confused and tried to grab her arm to hold her back, but she ripped herself away from him. She walked straight up to our table. In her hand, she was holding a large mug of hot coffee she had just grabbed from the pickup counter. "You ruined everything!" she screamed at the top of her lungs. Then she threw the coffee directly at me. It hit me right in the chest. It soaked my shirt and splashed onto my arms. It was hot. It wasn't boiling, but it was hot enough to hurt and sting my skin. I gasped in shock and stood up quickly. Chloe lunged at me. She tried to swing at me with her fists. Rachel and Tyler jumped up immediately and grabbed her arms. They pulled her away from me before she could actually land a punch. "Let me go!" Chloe screamed, struggling against them. "She destroyed my life. She's been jealous of me forever." Everyone in the cafe was staring at us. The barista was already on the phone, likely calling the police. Justin rushed over and grabbed Chloe by the waist. "We need to go right now," he said firmly. He practically dragged her out of the door while she was still screaming insults at me. I stood there shaking, my heart pounding against my ribs. My shirt was completely soaked, and my skin was starting to turn red from the heat. Ashley got a stack of napkins and started helping me clean up. Rachel was asking if I was okay, and Tyler was checking my arms to see if I was burned. "I'm fine," I said, though my voice was trembling. The manager of the cafe came over and apologized profusely. He said their coffee machines aren't set to the highest temperature for safety, and he offered to cover any medical bills if I needed to see a doctor. I assured him I was okay, just in shock. My friends took me home. Ashley lent me a clean shirt to change into, and they stayed with me for a few hours to make sure I was calm. After they left, I sat on my couch and tried to process what had just happened. My own sister had attacked me in a public place in front of multiple witnesses. That evening, I received a message on social media from Justin. It said, "Can we talk?" I really need to understand what is actually going on. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed back, "Okay." We messaged back and forth for over an hour. I told him every single detail. I told him about the trip where I was uninvited. I told him how they still expected me to pay for the whole thing. I told him about how my mother tried to steal $7,000 from my account without my knowledge. I told him about the harassment and how my mother tried to get me fired by calling my boss. I sent him all the proof. I sent the screenshots, the bank alerts, and the text messages. It took him a long time to respond after I sent the files. "I had no idea," he finally wrote back. "Chloe told me her parents were giving us the trip as a wedding gift. She said they wanted me to bond with them. She never once mentioned that you were supposed to go. She never said you were the one paying for it." "She lied to you, Justin," I told him. "I would have paid for the trip myself if I had known the truth," he replied. "I have the money." But Chloe told me it was a gift from her parents, and I believed her. I didn't respond to that. "I don't even know what to think anymore," he wrote. "This whole situation is insane. The way she acted today, I have never seen her like that. She has never been violent before. She threw hot coffee at me and tried to physically assault me," I reminded him. "There were witnesses and security cameras." "I know," he said. "I am so sorry. I tried to stop her. She has been living off my money for years through our parents," I told him. "She has been part of this the whole time. She knew exactly what they were doing to me." There was a very long pause before his next message. "I don't know if I can marry someone like this," he admitted. "Someone who lies like that, who takes advantage of their own family, and who attacks people in public. I need to seriously think about whether this is the person I want to spend the rest of my life with." "That is something you have to figure out for yourself," I replied. "I can't tell you what to do, but you deserve to know who you are actually marrying. You should know what kind of person she really is." "Yeah," he wrote, "I should." "Thank you for being honest with me, Allison, and I am truly sorry for everything you've been through." I didn't reply after that. I just closed the app and put my phone away. The next morning, I contacted my lawyer, Robert Henderson. I told him exactly what happened at the cafe. "We are filing for a restraining order immediately," he said. "This is a clear case of assault. We have witnesses and the manager has the footage." "How long will it take?" I asked. "We can file the paperwork this week," he explained. "The hearing should be scheduled within a month. I am very confident the judge will grant it." "Do it," I told him. He filed the paperwork that afternoon. It was a request for a restraining order against Chloe, requiring a 500-foot minimum distance and no contact of any kind. The hearing took place 3 weeks later. I showed up with Robert. Chloe showed up with her own lawyer. My parents were sitting in the back of the courtroom. My friends, Rachel, Ashley, and Tyler, all showed up to testify. They told the judge exactly what they had seen. Chloe screaming and throwing hot coffee at me before trying to attack me. The cafe manager also testified and brought the security footage. The video showed the entire incident in high definition. Chloe's lawyer tried to argue that she was under extreme emotional distress and that she wasn't actually dangerous. The judge wasn't interested in that excuse. "This was a physical assault," the judge stated firmly. "It was witnessed by multiple people and captured on camera. The restraining order was granted. It was set for 2 years with a strict no-contact rule and a 500-foot distance requirement." Chloe started crying in the middle of the courtroom. My mother stood up and started yelling, but the bailiff immediately made her sit down. I walked out of that courthouse feeling 10 pounds lighter. A week later, I received an email from my parents. The subject line read, "You are no longer our daughter." I almost deleted it without looking, but curiosity got the better of me. The email was long, angry, and filled with blame. They told me that Justin had officially broken off the engagement and called off the entire wedding. They said Chloe was devastated and that it was all my fault. I had destroyed the family and ruined Chloe's life, according to them. They called me cruel and heartless. They said I had chosen money over my own flesh and blood and that I never really cared about them. The email ended with, You are no longer our daughter. Do not contact us. Do not ever come to our home. You are dead to us. I read it twice and then I hit the delete button. I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel angry. I just felt free. They had made their choice. They had chosen Chloe over me for years. They used my money and gave me nothing but grief in return. Fine. If I wasn't their daughter, then they weren't my family. A few weeks later, I started looking for a new apartment. I wanted to move to a different part of the city, away from where my parents and Chloe lived. I wanted a completely fresh start. I found a great place across town, a nice one-bedroom in a quiet, safe neighborhood that was far enough away. I signed the lease and moved in over a single weekend. My friends all came over to help me pack and move boxes. It felt so good to be in a new space that was just mine. Work was going really well, too. About a month after I moved, my boss called me into his office again. "Allison, I wanted to talk to you about a promotion," he said. I sat up straighter in my chair. "A promotion?" I asked. "You have been doing excellent work here," he said. "You are reliable, professional, and your projects always exceed our expectations. We would like to promote you to Senior Marketing Manager. It comes with a significant raise and a lot more responsibility." I couldn't believe it. "I would love that," I told him. "Thank you." "You have earned it," he said with a smile. "Congratulations." I left his office with a huge smile on my face, a promotion and a raise. Things were finally going my way. Life settled into a new, healthy rhythm. I worked hard, spent time with my real friends, went on occasional dates, hit the gym, and took weekend trips whenever I wanted. I didn't hear a single word from my family. No calls, no emails, and I was perfectly okay with that. Actually, I was more than okay. I had spent years being the family bank account, the person they only turned to when they needed a handout. I was the one they constantly took advantage of, but I wasn't that person anymore. I was Allison, 30 years old, Senior Marketing Manager, living in my own beautiful apartment and building my own life. I had friends who actually cared about me, a career where I was truly valued, and the freedom to spend my money however I saw fit. Sometimes I wondered what happened to them. I wondered if they ever went on another vacation or if Chloe ever found someone else to marry. I wondered if my parents ever regretted what they had done to me. But mostly, I didn't think about them at all. I had moved on and built a wonderful life without them. One Saturday morning, I was having coffee with Rachel when she asked me if I ever regretted cutting them off. "No," I said without a second of hesitation. "Not even a little bit. Not even for a second." I thought about it for a moment. "I miss the idea of having a family," I told her. "I miss what I thought we were. But I don't miss what we actually were. I don't miss being used. I don't miss being treated like I didn't even matter unless I was writing a check." Rachel just nodded. "That makes total sense," she said. "They made their choice," I said. "They chose to lie. They chose to take advantage of me. They chose to replace me on a trip that I was paying for, and I made my choice too." "To choose yourself," Rachel said. "Exactly," I replied. "To choose myself, and I would make that same choice again every single time. I am 30 years old. I have a great job, a beautiful home, amazing friends, and a future that belongs entirely to me. My family wanted me to be their ATM. They wanted me to be their backup plan, the one who paid for everything and never asked for anything in return. But I am not that person. I will never be that person again. I am free and I am happy. I have my own money in my own bank account. I make my own decisions. I live my own life, and that is worth more than any family vacation could ever be. It is worth more than any hollow relationship built on money and guilt. I chose myself, and I am never looking back." End of story.